Very good morning to everyone. So today we'll be doing the Hindu analysis of 6th of September. Sorry, 6th of October. Okay, so I have shared the screen with you now. This is where we have to start with, that is diffusing the ticking time bomb called diabetes. So I don't know whether you people are aware of this or not, but diabetes is one big issue in our country as well as worldwide. So, what is the issue and how have how we have got to know about it? So, now there was a study that was conducted by Madras Diabetes Research Foundation in collaboration with ICMR, and your ICMR is Indian Council of Medical Research, and the Union Health Ministry. And what did this study reveal? It revealed that 11.4% of India's population, or 10.13 crore people, are living with diabetes, and 15% of the population, or an additional 13.6 crore people, are pre-diabetic. Now, if you see the numbers are very great. They are saying that close to 13.6 crore people now they are pre-diabetic. It also found that 28% of the population would be considered to be obese as per the BMI. And what is BMI? This is body measurement index. Oh, sorry, body mass index. Fine. Now, how the things are going ahead here? So, if you see, we are into ultra processed foods, and according to WHO, a major reason for this is consumption of unhealthy ultra processed foods and beverages, which are aggressively marketed, displacing traditional diets. And now, what are the foods that are in your ultra processed categories? So one are your unhealthy drinks, that could be your cold drinks, etc. Then are your noodles, then are your chips, even your fruits flavored drinks are also under this category. Cookies, ice cream, bakery products, energy bars, sweetened yogurts, pizzas, processed meat products, and powered in faint formulas. So these all these food articles are counted under what? Unprocessed, sorry, ultra processed foods. Now, scientific evidences are of what opinions? Now, they show that diets are heavy with ultra processed foods and beverages, or high in sugar, fat, and salt, and they are very risky and they can lead to diabetes. A 10% increase in the consumption of ultra processed food a day is associated with 15% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. That means a day where you are consuming these ultra processed foods and the quantity of the consumption is close to 10%. So what is what is the risk? It is 15% higher risk they are carrying. And this is with respect to what? This will be with respect to type 2 diabetes among adults. So when food is ultra processed, its structure is destroyed and cosmetic additives, colors, flavors are added. Well, I think you people are also aware of this fact that these ultra processed foods have additives, and this includes your colors, flavors, etc. So this makes people eat more, gain weight, and heighten the risk of diabetes and other chronic diseases. So what is going to happen now? You are going to consume more of these foods. Again, the cycle will continue. You consume more, you are more at a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. So you consume more, you gain weight, and in return what is happening is there is a higher risk of diabetes and other chronic diseases. Now, further, obesity and diabetes are key risk factor for heart disease. Even if you are having a little bit idea regarding what are the disease that are associated, or what is coming on your way once you are in this way of diabetes, or in the cycle of diabetes, so you will have higher risk of heart diseases and deaths. A study showed that those who had more than four servings of ultra processed food a day were much more at a risk of cardiovascular mortality than those who took less than two servings a day. That means those people who are consuming much more of these ultra processed foods are at a very high risk of cardiovascular mortality. An upward trend was found for all cause mortality too. Now, what is the playground for food industry over here? It is reported that the sale of sugar sweetened beverages has fallen in the last 20 years in many high income countries. So, what is happening is to compensate for the loss of sales, companies are now focusing on low and middle income countries. Now, if you see the worldwide chain, what they are saying is that the sale of sugar sweetened beverages has fallen in the last 20 years in which countries? Now these are those developed countries which are referred as these are high income countries. That means economically they are performing very well. So once they are performing very well, which are the countries that are left behind? Now these countries are the low and middle income countries. So India is one such developing country which falls under the category of this low income, or the one who is performing well, so low or middle income country. So India is playground for food industry. Billion of rupees are spent on marketing and advertising of the ultra processed food and beverage. Now this could be a game changer. Why? Because so much of marketing, so much of advertisement, and regarding what this ultra processed food, you people are also aware how these your fruit drinks, pizzas, yogurts, energy bars. Every now and then, your TVs or your internet datas are full with these advertisements. So, which leads to increased consumption by vulnerable population, and these vulnerable population. See, when I talk about vulnerable populations, I'll always talk about the people who are office going, right? So, what they require is instant solution, and instant solution comes from these fast foods. So, these fast foods are, affecting the young population also very adversely. While the food industry blames people for bad choices, it is not the people but the environment around them that is to blame. Marketing targets younger generations and the growing middle class, making it hard for an individual to choose healthy food options. Children in particular are exposed to cartoon characters. Now, see, if you want to make these things accessible, then you have to make it very appealing. So it depends upon the generation you are targeting on. For example, if you are targeting generation which are children's below 10 to 11 years of age, then you are going to put some cartoon characteristics for advertisement. And if you are targeting a youth, then probably the advertisement will be taken, or they'll be using these film stars or cricket stars, etc., for or to make it appealing. So cartoon characters and given incentives and their celebrity. Now this is what I said. These celebrity endorsements. The celebrities are. It all depends upon the nexus you are targeting on. If you are targeting the childrens, you'll go with the cartoon characters. If you are targeting these people who are youth, young, then you will be targeting the celebrities. So these endorsements will be helpful in your advertisements. Fine. The result is a deepening public health crisis, the ticking bomb of diabetes. Now, sugar sweetened beverages are a major source of added sugar in diets and put people at a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. In such a context, policy and regulatory actions are warranted. See, this is needed also because of the need of the hour. We are having a very high demographic dividend, so we need to really take care of the health of our youth. The food industry does not want any restrictions on marketing. They offer partnership as well as arguments of economic development as stakeholders. The food industry also participates in programs such as Eat Right, making false promises. That means they are talking about Eat Right, but These claims are false. Now, such partnerships do not allow us to make a strong regulation that could reduce the consumption of ultra processed food and beverages. The FSAI has shown a lackluster response to the crisis and allowed a dominating role to the food industry while suggesting front of package labeling, which is still not in place. Many say that people should exercise. While this is good for health, it should be in addition to a regulatory policy on restricting the marketing of ultra processed foods and providing warning labels on junk food and beverages. That means no matter what, like the kind of food is being processed, what need to be taken care is the labels, and these labels are what, the warning labels on junk food and beverage. Now, what are mandatory provisions? So the only way government can safeguard what, people from the manipulative strategies of food industry is through a legal framework or even an ordinance. Now, 123 Article 123 of the Constitution, with the objective of reducing, halting the consumption of ultra processed food, it could also include what, defining a healthy food. Now, what is that? A warning label on unhealthy food, restrictions on promotions, marketing tactics of unhealthy food and beverages. Now, people must be informed of the risk of consuming such foods. I will rather give you the example of tobacco products. You will always get those labels in those products. So, does that restrict people? No. But why is it, why is it put over there? Because they want to tell you, inform you that consuming this will, will affect your health adversely. So that's what you can say is a responsible advertisement. In this process, there is no reason to partner with the food industry that is responsible for ill health. The government of South Africa, Norway, and Mexico have recently taken similar actions. So, South Africa, Norway, and Mexico are countries who have taken what, actions regarding what, the risk of consuming these ultra processed foods. The government of India can show its strength to regulate food labeling and marketing. Such a law will be clear demonstration of the will of the government. The infant milk substitutes, feeding bottles, infant food acts flattened the growth of commercial baby food. Now, this could be a good example with respect to what, in order to control the commercial baby foods, and what are those? You can talk about the Infants Food Act. The proposed new law could do the same to unhealthy foods and beverages. This is an idea whose time has come. So the time has came for what, to check the ultra processed foods. Fine. Now let's move on to the next article. Okay, so we have this one where now the news says that inspiring colors. Chemistry Nobel Prize goes to trio that made artificial atoms. Yesterday we did quantum dots, if you remember. Okay, Traveling in a bus can be an enjoyable experience if you have your own seat. The vehicle is not crowded, there is a nice breeze. But if the bus is packed with people, you can get irritated. Something similar happens to atoms. Now, the explanation that they are telling is, oh, now something of this kind happens to atoms. If they are contained in a vessel at a low density, they behave in a certain way. But if they are packed densely together with little moving space, something new happens. The 2023 Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to three people who found out what happens. Technically, they have been selected for discovering and refining quantum dots. Now, this is what I told you. And what are quantum dots? They are small crystals, a few nanometers wide. Each quantum dot has only a few thousand atoms. And because the atoms are packed so closely together in the dot, their electrons are very close to each other. In this setting, the laws of quantum mechanics describe the behavior of quantum dots so much so that an entire dot can mimic the behavior of an atom. That means you have these atoms, and the quantum dot has the power to reflect the behavior of entire atom. Fine. Now the dots have another famous property. If you shine some light on a quantum dot, it will absorb and re-emit that light at a different frequency depending upon its size. Now this is exactly what we did yesterday. If there is any kind of light that minutes. Okay, if there's any kind of light, see they say this is your quantum dot, and if there is, just hold on, it has hanged actually. So if there is any kind of light that is projected on this quantum, so what is happening is that dot is going to re-emit that light at different frequencies. So supposedly this is your quantum dot, this is the light, and then there is another light. Now this light is re-emitted, and when this is re-emitted, what is happening is this is of different frequency. Now, for these reasons, quantum dots have found many applications where in transistors, labels, medical imaging, quantum computing, and in 1981, Alexei Ikimov, then working in the Soviet Union, first synthesized quantum dots frozen inside glass. 2 years later, Louis Bruce synthesized quantum dots in a solution in the US and worked out their quantum physical properties. Finally, whose work on quantum dots began as a student. Now, a way to make quantum dots of higher quality is an easy and reliable way in 1993. Some of the most fascinating scientific discoveries for all their technical sophistications are actually innocuous. Quantum dots are one such. Understanding why they behave the way they do requires specialized knowledge of quantum mechanics. But quantum mechanics do not dictate their behavior. So what is happening is quantum dots light up LED screens and location of a tumor that needs to be removed. It is important not to lose sight of the colors, the reds, greens, and the blues, and whatever mode they might inspire. So if you see the application of quantum dot is humongous. Why? Because all your scientific work that require precision can be performed through these quantum dots. Fine. Now let's move on to the new article. Okay, so India's expanding censorship regime creating uneven playing field. Now, the Freedom House report says that India resorting to AI-enabled digital repression. It finds out that environment for human rights online has deteriorated in 29 countries. Now, they are talking about the cause of human rights, and these human rights were human rights online has deteriorated in 29 countries. The reports cover developments between this year, that is June 2022 and May 2023. Now, according to new report by Freedom House, and what has this report talked about? A Washington-based non-profit organization, Global Internet Freedom, has declined for the 13th consecutive year. Now, what do you mean by internet freedom? So this is what they are saying, that the environment for human rights online has deteriorated in 29 countries with only 20 countries registering net gains. The report titled Freedom on the Net 2023, the repressive power of artificial intelligence has raised a red flag on increasing use of artificial intelligence by government for censorship and spread of disinformation. That means the internet has been used for spreading of disinformation. Now, what is happening is, if you see the table, the internet freedom, what is the status of each country with respect to the internet freedom? For example, one is your Iceland, and the status is free and the country is scoring a score of total 94. Then you have UK with a score of 79, Germany with a score of 77, US with a score of 76, Brazil, which is partly free and is scoring at a score of 64, Sri Lanka with 52, India with 50, and Pakistan with 26. Now, if you see what the conditions for human right online, what they are saying is that it has deteriorated for 13th year. So according to Freedom House, Freedom on Net report, ranking are on a scale of 100 to 0, with 100 being most free. Now, the report of the 13th edition of an annual study of human rights online covers development between this year to this. It evaluates internet freedom in 70 countries. Now, as per the report, the sharpest rise in digital repression was witnessed in Iran. That means Iran is one such country where you have witnessed what? Sharpest rise in digital repression. Fine. Now, where authorities shut down internet service, blocked WhatsApp and Instagram, and increased surveillance in a bid to quell anti-government protest. Now, if you see why they are talking about digital repression is that they are saying why these kind of activities are happening now. These kind of activities are happening in order to quell or in order to suppress the protests that are happening against the government. So the cause and the reason behind this is very clear. One is, check the anti-government protest. Now, China for the ninth straight year was ranked as the world's worst environment for internet freedom, with Myanmar world's second most repressive for online freedom. So, if you ever have to give the example, it would be one is your China, you have Myanmar, you have Iran. So what is happening is people face legal repercussions for expressing themselves online in 55 countries this year, and the number of countries where authorities carry out widespread arrest, impose multi-year prison terms for online activities has risen sharply over the past decades. Now, if you see, these kind of activities are very prevalent. Reason being that these activities are happening, on the wake of the government. That means the government will never try, like whosoever the present ruling authority is, they will never try that, anything going to affect them or their administration for that matter. Anyone challenging their power and authority will be put behind the bars. So, this is exactly what is happening. Now, the report also detailed how elections were a trigger for digital repression. Ahead of election period, many incumbent leaders criminalized broad categories of speech, blocked access to internet independent news sites, imposing other controls over the flow of information, balloting in their favor. That means they want to make it all favorable for the situations that are favorable to them. Fine. Now, detailing AI enabled digital repression in India, the report said that now this is regarding government, so you can you know just switch, escape all this. No need to do this. Now, citing the government's order to YouTube, Twitter to restrict access within India to these documentaries about communal violence, etc., the report stated because the government ordered restrictions of the documentary, the IT rules require the two platforms to use automated scanning tool to sweep up any additional post that shares the film. Now, what is happening is how these things are being used, so that anything which is spoken against the current government regime could be blocked or could be swept. But then difference of opinions are always there. So fine. Now the report evaluates countries on 5 censorship methods, and what are those? Whatever the report that is coming of internet freedom, it is being evaluated on certain basis. So what are those bases on which these reports are evaluated? First is your internet connectivity restrictions. Second is how much blocks are there on social media platform. Third are blocks on websites. Fourth is blocks on VPNs. And fourth, removal of content. And India engaged in all of them except one, that is VPN blocking. Now, India also figured among the just a minute. Okay. India also figured among the list of countries that blocked website posting political, social, or religious content, deliberately disrupted the ICT networks, used pro-government commentators to manipulate online discussions. Now, all this is being used to do what? Manipulate the online discussions, uh, give technical attacks against who? Government critics or human rights organizations on a range of 1 to 100. I have just done the scoring part with you all. Okay, so this was good enough. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, here you see what they are saying is pollution takes a front seat as stubble fires spike in Punjab. Now, the stubble burning issue has always been there, so nothing new. But since it's important, so we have to do this now. As the paddy harvest, the key Kharif season crops gain pace in Punjab, the perennial problem of stubble burning, an aggravator of air pollution, is also on the rise. Now, what is happening is the state has so far witnessed 656 farm fire incidents, up by around 63% against the corresponding period of the previous year. Now, what is happening? The Punjab Pollution Control Board has shown that during the ongoing Kharif season, as many as 656 cases of farm fire occurrence have been reported. Now, by comparison, what is happening is that only 415 incidents have been found. Now, the data is based on what? Now, they are saying that it is based on the satellite imaging. Now, this reflects what? The numbers are even more stark when seen in light of the fact that by October 2021, only 260 farm fire incidents have been recorded. That means you can say there is underreporting of the cases. Now, paddy has been planted in about 31 lakh hectares of land in Punjab, and its procurement has also started across the state. So, stubble burning around autumn every year has been one of the contributing factors to air pollution across the country. Northern regions, including the national capital and the surrounding areas. Now, with these spikes in the number of farm fire cases, the Punjab government's commitment for what? To reduce the paddy stubble burning by at least 50% this year in accordance with the state action plan. So, what is happening is that the farmers in the Punjab have already made it clear to the state government, right? Regarding what? That although they are against the burning of stubble, without a viable alternative or financial incentives, they would have no option but to continue with the status quo. So what do you need to know now? Here, the Delhi government has came with the scientific tool, or you can say a scientific machineries, in order to check the cases of stubble burning. So you need to know about that. Okay. Rest you should know the Kharif season, that is from September to November, and that's the time where you have to work towards the stubble fires. Fine. Let's move on to the next analysis. Okay. Now, if you see here, it is saying that first public sector Caravan Park in Kerala to bring in more tourists to Baker Fort. Now, soon tourists can feel the magnificence of the Baker Fort in the Kasagod from the comforts of a caravan, as Kerala has decided to set up a caravan park there. Now, how how this is going to help? What is the importance of this park? How relevant it is with respect to Baker Fort? Me to do all of that. So, the well protected fort on a hill lock overlooking the Arabian Sea, boasts a stunning architecture and luscious green environment. So, tourists can feel the magnificence of the Bekal Fort from the comforts of the caravan. Now, if you see, this is your architecture of Bekal Fort. Now, the Kerala Tourism Department, Development Corporation will develop the Caravan Park and camp shelter at Bickel, which has also been selected by the tourist department to be developed under cinema tourism, a project that seeks to showcase prime locations in the state featured in hit films. Now, what you will find is that this project will be evident to you in the popular songs. Now, one such movie was there that was there in 1995. That name was Bombay, and this was coming from Mani Ratnam. Now, this movie was shot over the Bakel Fort. Now, the KTDC, that is your Kerala Tourism Development Corporation, also submitted proposals to set up Caravan parks at Ponmudi in Tiruvananthapuram. The Caravan Park at Baker will be the first park in the public sector in the state. A sum of rupees this much has been sanctioned for the project. Now, though the carbon tourism received huge popularity in the beginning, the state failed to bring in sufficient private investment in the sector. That means, firstly, the Kerala government had made the investment in this carbon park, and then what happened was that they were looking for private investments, even though the footfall was there, but the investment didn't came on their way. So at present, there is only one carbon park in the state run by a private player, and though administrative sanction was given for starting 5 parks in various parts of the state, work on some parks got struck midway. So with more parks coming up in the public sector, it is expected to improve the prospects of the sector. That means what they are looking for is to improve the prospects of investment in this sector. Fine. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here in the page number of 17, the world news, page number 17. The news is here that Bangladesh gets its first batch of uranium. Now, Bangladesh receives the first uranium delivery on Thursday for its Russian-backed nuclear plant, a project that was aimed at bolstering its overstretched energy grid but complicated by the sanctions. So what they are saying is that the project that was of uranium delivery, and why this uranium delivery was brought, it was because of a nuclear plant that Bangladesh is aiming for, and this nuclear plant is with respect to what, stretching out the energy grid. Fine. Now, what has happened is that the Prime Minister of Bangladesh has quoted Russian ties with renewed vigor after Western criticism over her government's right hand record. So, Moscow is bankrolling the $12 billion plant with a loan for 90% of its cost, with hopes it will elevate the chronic blackouts plaguing the South Asian nations. So now, what exactly is happening is that Bangladesh, you also know that it's a long-term friend of India, and also the friend of Russia, as it's been said. So what is happening is that Russia has pledged what, an assistance for uranium supply, maintenance, and management. Now, which is the plant that they are targeting for? So, construction on the nuclear plant at Rupur, a village on the banks of Ganga River, and how or where is the appropriate location of this? This is 175 km west of the capital of Dhaka, and the first of its twin, that is 1200 megawatt units, is slated to begin operations, and both reactors should be fully online by 2025. So, if there's any question regarding IR, you can talk about this help that is coming from the Russian side to the Bangladesh. Okay, so we have done this PMI wala thing back then in my news analysis. I think 2 days before, so you can go and check over there. Then here you should know about the food inflation. Since they are saying that September food inflation may have eased on cheaper tomato and LPG, so must know about food inflations. Okay, you need to skip out these. Okay, now if you see the next thing that's coming here is preparing for the grey elder mental health care comes into prominence. Now mental health care has been often now and then in news. For what reason? Most of the time it's all about youth, because they are the one who are constantly juggling with the work schedules and their personal lives. Now the news that is coming on our way is that the elder all the elderlies are facing what? Mental health care. So, what's on the way? Now, World Elders Day, which is observed on October 1, and Mental Health Day on October 10. While that might be a coincidence in this month, why? Why are they talking about this? Because India's increasingly graying population means we need to pay urgent attention to both senior citizen and mental health. So what they are saying is that we are having this World Elders Day, and then 9 days after we are having what? Mental health day. So they are saying that somewhere or other, elderly's mental health need to be taken care of. Now, this becomes important with respect to your Indian society section, and there is this topic in your syllabus regarding vulnerable population or vulnerable segment of your country or vulnerable section that need to be studied from this aspect. So, let's start from here. Now, there are more older people on the globe now than ever before in the history of humanity. That means the population of elderly is quite large this time. Now, in 2022, the number of above 60 was 1.1 billion, comprising that is 13% of the population. By 2050, the number of the older people is expected to increase to 2.1 billion, constituting 22% of the population. Now, if you see, now see, this is very much evident also because you also know that right now we are having, if I talk precisely about India, we are having high demographic dividend. So, if India is having high demographic dividend at the present time, then 20 years ahead, what is expected? This population is going to get old also, right? So, based on that analysis, we can say that 22% of India is not, 22% of the globe is going to witness what? Older people. Now, India is not far behind. Why? Because it had 149 million older adults, which is 10% in 2022. So, our contribution towards elderly population in globe back 2022 is 10%. The figure will grow to 347 million, which is 20% by 2050. That means India's contribution, solely alone, India's contribution towards elderly people is 20%. The bottom line is that many of us are living longer than our ancestors. Despite this eminent crisis, we know little about healthy aging. and elders' mental health. Even worse, we have many misconceptions and fears about aging, especially mental health problems in older people, such as depression, anxiety, and dementia. Now, getting old is a normal physiological process. For convenience, we can consider aging in the physical, social, and psychological domain. It is important to remember that the issues in each domain interact with one another within and outside the domains. Now, the physical aspects of aging are apparent. For example, graying hair and decreasing muscle mass. However, there is considerable heterogeneity with no two, that is 70 or 80 years old, being similar. Now, see, apart from the mental health, there are many other issues that elderlies are facing, and that is your organs disability. Why? Because with age, your organ stops functioning in some cases. In some cases, the lifestyle, environment, and diseases all is affecting your health of elderly. Now, what is the vulnerable phase? See, increasing age will lead to dependency. In some cases, the this burden of elderly shifts with respect to the sex also. Why? Because it is being often witnessed that the aged women are more isolated, more prone to poverty, ageism, pessimism, nihilism, and dependent. Are significant. These social changes are elders faces. Now they are vulnerable to emotional, physical, sexual, and financial abuse also. Often the perpetrators are known to them commonly. Yeah, most of the time it's coming from the family only. Now, coming to the psychological aspects, as we age, we are expected to be wiser with a broader understanding of life. Now, Erickson proposed ego integrity versus despair as his final psychosocial development stage in humans. Now, this article becomes relevant for the people of psychology as well. Fine. Now, the whole issue over here lies behind the acceptance. So, Indian culture emphasizes acceptance of the past, the present, and the future as a meaning to achieve peace of mind in old age. Accepting the limitations that old age imposes on us and renouncing our responsibilities without a sense of suffering or loss are essential to age well psychologically. That means we need to focus on what age well psychologically. However, this is not easy as many elders struggle to accept the changes. As Abraham Lincoln said, it is not the years in our life that counts, it's the life in your years. That means very truly said that it is not how long you live, but how you lived. It's not about how long, but it's how you lived. I mean, the quality of life. Many elderly men especially feel lost and become unproductive after retirement. It is very critical to develop from a young age other interests in life, be it music, sports, social work, domestic responsibilities, etc. This helps to mitigate the feeling of lack of purpose after retirement, which very often leads to depression. That means right when the person reaches the age of retirement, so after retirement, what happens is they start feeling depressive. Roughly 15% of elders have serious mental illness. To provide a context to this number, what they are saying is that common mental health problem elders face are depression, anxiety, dementia, and substance use disorder. Now, often elders with mental illness do not seek treatment, and the treatment gap is staggering to 90% in India. A lack of awareness among the public and healthcare professional is the main reason for this vast gap. Also, we have seen that many healthcare professionals are pessimist about treatment of mental health problems in elders. Families are often asked to lock their relatives with dementia in a room as nothing much can be done. So this is what you can say, or elderly abuse. In addition, elders with mental illness face the double whammy of stigma associated with aging and mental illness. Stigma makes it difficult for families to admit that an older relative has a mental illness, and also creates reluctance to take them for treatment. That means most of the time they are not even provided the kind of quality treatment they should be, because most of the time they are neglected from their families as well. So, poverty and lack of access to services are other important factors. Most elders in India are impoverished and lack access to health. Yeah, many interventions such as psychosocial treatments, day centers, and particular medicines are available only to a limited extent in cities. So, if you see, psychologically or psychological issues are, though we are talking about it, but still we are not taking it very seriously when it comes to communicable disease, because maybe because we think that this is limited to a person, so it often goes neglected. So what needs to be done is that psychosocial treatments need to be taken seriously. To address some of these challenges, especially in rural communities, the SCAF, that is Schizophrenia Research Foundation, has partnered with Azim Premji Foundation to raise awareness about elder mental health in four rural taluks of Chengalpat district in Tamil Nadu. These volunteers are sensitized about mental health problems elders face. They encourage elders to seek help from staff community, and the aim is to create a network in the rural community to improve elders' mental health. The Indian tradition of a joint family system has many advantages that supports elders. The multi-generational interaction and bonds fostered in joint families are crucial to the well-being of elders. Unfortunately, joint families are rare now, even in villages, due to migration. Festivals and rituals also encourage socialization for elders. For example, uh, drawing of rangolis require complex cognitive skills. Now, in future, given that most readers of this article will age, we need to ensure that mental health services are available for elders in our community. At the individual level, we need to plan for our old age with financial savings and lifestyle changing to maintain good physical health and satisfying social life. Now, how are we able to design such elder friendly designs? Now, city and town planners should consider elder friendly designs to improve mobility and reduce dependency. Many retirement homes and elder care facilities are available in cities now. Now, what is happening is this may fill the void left by the loss of joint family system. However, most of them cannot care for those with dementia or other mental illness. The government must frame policies for elders with mental illness, allocate resources, and implement services. Now, we must remember that caring for our elder is everyone's responsibility. Now, this is important with respect to your vulnerable groups, and this will be there in your GS paper 2 as well. The next one, and also with respect to psychology optional. Sociology optional also. Why? Because there is a unit of social transformation. So you can write this over, or you can refer to this article with respect to that. Okay. The next one is government needs to prioritize childhood cancer. Now, another childhood cancer awareness month has concluded, and a doctor says more need to be done to better manage the pediatric cancers. Rising awareness, ensuring treatment, increasing care centers, making treatment affordable, etc., prioritizing childhood cancers are the need of the hour. WHO has estimated that close to 4 lakh children are diagnosed with cancer per year. According to R. Swaminathan, what is the scenario? New cancers occurred among children in 2022. It occurred in the ratio of 123 boys to 100 girls. Now, which cancer are prevalent? So they say leukemia, lymphoma, brain, central nervous system tumors are the most common one. Pediatric cancers are 2 to 3% of all cancers diagnosed in India. Blood cancers, leukemia are the most common in children, followed by brain tumors. Then you have oncology cancer institutes, their lack of awareness is one of the main challenge. Then there are no specific symptoms, fever, headaches, vomiting, abdominal pain. Um, then pains, then there are mimic common infections resulting in late diagnosis. People do not know this, and children are brought in when the disease has advanced. So, pediatric cancers are 2 to 3% of all cancers diagnosed in India. Cost of care is increasing, bills are rising. There is due to infections and treatments in ICU. Common blood cancers are there. Then we need better insurance cover for childhoods. Then we have 18 to 20% of the world's burden of pediatric cancer. Now, if you are well, just look at the number, the 20% of children are suffering from pediatric cancer. What kind of world it would be? So historically, the government of India has not prioritized pediatric cancer. B, that means the government is still not prioritizing pediatric cancer. It does not feature in the national cancer control policy. What is needed is a major policy shift. That means since we haven't prioritized it, so what we require is a shift in our policy. Fine. So this recognizes pediatric cancer, including them in the national policy, with leukemia being the major group of cancers in the children. So you must remember that it is leukemia that is prevalent. Um, Other than that, what is happening is then there what a bone marrow transplantation costs you close to 10 to 17 lakh. Now, acute lymphoblastic leukemia needs 3 years of treatment, including 6 months of intensive chemotherapy, during which the child and family should stay near the facility. So, what is happening is that when even if you try to counter it, there is enough of issues lying with respect to the treatment section. That means, apart from the cost of treatment that is borne by the people, what is required is that there need to be intense treatment to be done at the facility and at the home. That means how the people are checking it with respect to the course of treatment. So yeah, you can say it's the course of treatment how people are able to bear it. Okay, so this was for today. Thank you so much.